Well. It looks like I probably was definitely wrong this morning and was confused, like a lot of investors probably, as we got a spike, but three different numbers came out, right? Sometimes a lower importance, at least from our scaling, right, sometimes takes lead. It looks like that has taken lead of the narrative. Now let's talk about, will this continue? I mean, we just broke through the range, right? Does this just mean we're going to 390, 400? Let's talk about it with Joel Elconin and see what he thinks. I'll tell you what, team, I'm still a little confused. So I'm going to let Joel take a lot of lead today on what he sees out there, and we'll run through it. All the movement, the action. What caught your attention? Throw it up in the chat.
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
Three consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
Let's bring Joel on. What's going on in the markets, man?
Oh, I guess because I said 3.5% would be disastrous for the market. I mean, that shows nothing from what I said yesterday about the markets. I guess that I didn't know about the revisions for November and December and the wage growth. So,
They
man,
pull a fast one
go
sometimes.
back, man. These guys are, I mean, Dennis praises the chat. I mean, I gotta think we might just need to get rid of it. It's just getting to be absolutely ridiculous. And some of the other trolls from yesterday aren't in here yesterday. I'd love to take a shot at them. We're up 94 handles at 29.23. Had the higher open, came back, just kissed the close, right? And then what did you do? You got some weak manufacturing data, ISM data. You got Bostic talking bullish. You got to the top of the trading range. Now you exceeded the top of the trading range. And now, once again, it all comes to the point where, yeah, you can go to these levels. You could go to 39.20, 39.30 or whatnot. But what happens when you come back down, right? Can you establish a bid at 3900, 3905? So that's it. It's just the way it is, and that's the way the markets are. I'm glad I stood by my guns yesterday, evaluating the market, being in a trading range, and now it looks like we're poking out of the top of the trading range. So I'm happy. My P&L's happy. My long-term portfolio's happy. So let's move on. We'll move on to the buck. The buck's getting killed. Now that's helping things down. The buck is down $1.18 on 103.65. Bonds getting a boost. The bond market's been telling you this bottle's been in for a while, up nearly 2 sticks and 129.14. Crude, well, it's flat 73.68 in no man's land. Gold breaking out up again 32.40 at 18.73. Silver sticking its head over 24, up 59 cents at 24.01. And even Bitcoin's participating in the rally today, up $135 at 16,975.
And it was a tough day indeed, at least in my mind. I got to be honest. I did what I told you I was going to do. I was going to stand on the sidelines and not take part in it. Everything wanted me to, right out the gates, right? You see the SPY. When we got up there towards around 384, that first kind of topping action, I was like, yeah, I should just revenge trade it short side. No. Mitch knows better than that. I've already told myself that I wouldn't do that kind of revenge style trade there. And that saved me at least. I mean, it did come down for a second. Looks like the dip was bought around the 380s, then definitely took up there towards the 385. Did I think we would get to 389 today? By no means measured. But hey, that's what happened. Now we need to go ahead and just kind of keep in mind what's going on here. Is this just a rally to sell, or is this a start of something stronger? I think that's what you ask yourself now, right? And I think that what I'm asking myself there is, well, what happened really today? Well, of course, with the wage inflation, that's what That's what got hit there, right? It shows that inflation's coming down a little bit if wages are coming down, right? So that's why there was a little bit of that optimism, that positive outlook. And then, of course, we got ISM at 10 a.m. to come in here. Non-manufacturing PMI came in for December at 49.6 versus 55 estimate. And that continued to give us the lift. You guys can see right around then, we started reversing there on the SPY, came right back up through that 384 eventually, and then started getting that ride up.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I can't honestly say that I was like super bearish, super bullish, but just when I see a trading range like that, it just makes me just sit back and take a pause. And if you get chopped up in the trading range, now, a trading ranges lead to, breakouts of the trading range. So I think the way you have to look at this market, at least for the next few days, is okay, we broke it out of the top of the trading range. Let's, find some support above 3,900. And I think you get obviously could get a 2-day move, and I think you could have a rally into the CPI number. Maybe you'll see a little profit taking ahead of the CPI number, but man, that holding the level, breaking above the top of the level, and then I don't know what else we can have to derail us next week. I don't think the earnings start yet, right? Until JP Morgan is our first
Yeah, the big thing is just CPI. That's the next
Yep,
thing to just
that's
to
the
watch.
CPI.
CPI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the market, I mean, I don't know how much emphasis you can put, on a short-term ceasefire because, whatever political reasons were put on Putin to do that. I think that's something that we kind of like to all hear, whether or not they're just going to start hailing bombs, again next week. But I thought that was a little bit of positive news, and you just had some positive catalysts, come out in the market today. Will that persist overnight? Who knows? But I'll tell you, there were some things that were showing bullish signs this morning that we seriously underestimated the velocity of the rally here. And I think we had give the Costco news, and man, oh man, oh man, this thing just exploded.
Yeah, Costco reporting December sales results at 23.8 billion, up from 22.24 billion. And you guys remember their wholesale really got hit in kind of that Black Friday time because of what went on in their e-commerce. I feel like that was a little bit of an over exaggeration on that hit, and this just kind of brought it back. Monthly charts still look good for support on Costco. If there's anything that I would just
Oh.
use, is probably that monthly, but it's tough because it's a big range.
And it's a gap. Let's just put things into perspective. You had a really horrible 3-day run. You filled the gap at 483.52, exceeding that, going to 484.42. It's funny. There's not too many times where I mention an area of potential resistance, and it turns out to be almost the low of the day. I was talking about busting above 464.81. Wow, the low was 62.22. So I think you probably caught some people getting flat footed, right? Making almost a new low of the move yesterday. Bad numbers coming out today, crashing through 3,800. So you went to a point where if you were trying to accumulate a long position and or you were short and you weren't bringing in the yesterday, then it's a whole different complexion of the market. You're having to lift offers. So that's what happened with Costco. I'm totally surprised. Could even be a 2-day move in this one. Far away from even a 50% retracement, but that's not the only stock that pulled the rug over our eyes. I guess this we underestimated this WWE news. Why don't you reiterate that for our folks?
Yeah, it didn't get the smackdown today, as of course WWE was gaining all day and in the pre-market after, of course, news reports that they could be exploring a potential sale. Vince McMahon joined again. He's starting a sales process, and that's what he released. Of course, right now, media rights for Raw and SmackDown are about to be renegotiated. So that's why they're saying that it's a perfect time for the selling of this asset. And this was reported by Wall Street Journal. Now, the only question really remains is he really going to sell out?
I mean, I don't know who's going to buy it. I don't know what the price is going to be, but I wish I would have stuck to our mantra. And when stocks in play, technicals go away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the case yet today. Big old gap up, gap and go. You got to now. You maybe have some levels to look at. If you're playing this for a takeout play, then perhaps you want to. Wait to see if something materializes soon. I don't know what a takeout price would be, who it would be, but I'll just reserve my comments since we kind of got this wrong this morning as well.
You wouldn't think it, but it was up about 41% for 2022.
Really? Yeah,
You
you're
wouldn't
right.
think it. You wouldn't think it, but this stock was one of the winners of last year.
Yeah, and the
Just to
whole.
kind of mention it,
Are you a WWE fan?
I mean, when I was growing up, Joe, like when I was like a kid, like when The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin was a part of it, I got to see The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Really?
We'll never forget that. The People's Elbow, the Stone Cold Stunner, it was a good time. Back
I mean,
then though, I was a
the
fan.
only thing I can remember that is like in the neighborhood when like we'd be wrestling, we'd do rake the eyes and nose gouge and like
Oh,
ear
I
gouge.
used to jump off the side. Let's just say I never broke my head on the bed, but we won't get into all that.
Okay, all right. So that's moving. Let's
You know what?
go ahead.
One stock that I felt like really gave us an opportunity today, and it was off of an analyst note. And this is when I sometimes I just get too caught up in the noise because if I would have
Oh
been really
yeah.
thinking, okay, the market ripping upwards, what got a downgrade that probably shouldn't have gotten a downgrade? Well, to me, one of those was Ulta. Ulta got the
Yeah,
downgrade.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, Wells Fargo downgrading Ulta Beauty to underweight, lowering price target to 400. I was thinking, man, they got this wrong, man. They got this wrong. And then you could see it right out the gates. Look how it reacted.
Wow.
Boom, right out the
A
gates.
a dime off the low of the good point there. The opening print 78.99. The low of the day 78.89. That was another thing that I was thinking about this morning, and I had in my notes. Boy, oh boy, were they coming out on with the downgrades this week? The street downgrade this and downgrade that, and they were getting some love on it, and it just if you would have been taking a super, super contrarian look on things, then you would have said, man, those Wall Street analysts, they didn't get me out at the top. They had me buying all the way down. So that was another perhaps, bearish, a contrarian play. But that's revisionist history. That's a nice move in Alta. You do the, the open and you wouldn't have been taking any heat from that. So that's what you're looking at in Alta coming back. It made a new all-time high by a wide margin yesterday. Maybe not gonna do that today, but a nice recovery from the downgrade. Now, if the market would have kept on going lower, it might have had more of an impact. But Alta definitely getting helped out by the market. Jay's mentioning cat and
Cats have the hat.
Mitch and I were talking about this yesterday, and we're saying, well, look what Deer did. This has got to crack, man. This has
Right?
got to be the greatest short in the world. And when I
That's
like,
how the
wow,
market is, man.
I'm like, this thing isn't going when things are like not going down when you think they should be going down. Well,
Hmm.
now you got the reason. Cat breaking out to a new all-time high, even with some weak manufacturing data. So there's a big never sell sleeping market. Spoos coming up near the highs of the session. Current high. Wow, when did we 28.75 or current trading at 26.50.
It's been tough. Let's go to Biogen, right? They got news today. Let's take a look how the stock is reacting. I was seeing it make a big jump a little bit a while ago at 310. Now it's kind of dying
Yeah.
down here. Really trying to dive deep a little bit more into this FDA. It did get the approval, but I'm wondering why it's not getting such lift off of that
The only
approval.
thing I could take as historical precedence on this, and that these pops off this new, and I assuming that it was positive news off the halt, these have been faded. That's the only thing. And I know it's happened last 3 or 4 times. Now, this wasn't as big a move as some of the other ones, but you made a lower the move yesterday. People are maybe buying into the report over the last 2 weeks. We're like, hey, 290 is good enough for me. So I'm thinking just the historical significance of this has been, on these good news have been selling off. So that's the only thing I can say for Biogen. Sava, I know poor Sava. What that's hanging out, consolidating. I know this is working on a drug. How did the Lilly? Not nothing bothers Lilly. Lily's up 510 today. If you're trading Lilly, they're due for a stock split. You didn't hear that from me.
Man,
367. That's a big level. Hit 67.12. That's not even the high for the week. 66.70 is what you hit today. So some of the drugs are doing okay. Someone mentioned Merck. Merck's making a new all-time high. Gap and Go from yesterday. Not sure what Pfizer's doing. Pfizer's having a
ripping.
decent, yeah, having a decent day. But let's see here, 348. Let's took it loved. Triple D did make a good call on this one. Because the bad news. There's been a lot of bad news out on this, and he thought maybe they would buy the dip in this one. And 33 open below yesterday's low, dipped under that, but came back in a big comeback move. I did fly Southwest, but it was a charter. I thought absolute excellent service. Now the charter's a whole different thing. But right now,
I,
oil price. What do you think? Maybe oil prices
this
coming in, Mitch, or what do you
I
think?
think this is as good as a gift as you can get. Reason why I think that's reason I saw some analysts talk about how the damage just from the holidays could be about 9 months of revenue.
Really?
An analyst said that. And I was like, right there, that scared me. I was like, yep, I'm not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole. I mean, just think about it. How many cancellations of airline tickets that was? Add that all up. That revenue is going to have to not show up somewhere on the bottom of the line. And when that comes in, what's going to happen? Because they still had to pay like the workers, right? They were still like paying pilots and paying like, it's just to me, this is going to be more of a disaster when we actually see the earnings report.
Okay, S&P's hit 2875. I mean, they should come out and pre-warn on this, right? With the revenue. I was thinking about this. Change of heart here in the last few minutes. We just dropped a quick 10 handles. I don't know if this quite yet a news move here. It might be a news move. We're falling pretty fast here. Mitch, you seen anything on your Benzinga Pro?
No, I mean, the last kind of touch news, I'm looking the House adjourn at 3:40. House adjourn until 10 p.m.
Okay.
So it looks like they're still doing the House votes. That's the only thing I see there showing up right now. There was a 1.1 buy imbalance, but I just feel like this run right here. This was one of those where even shorts probably got the squeeze put on them a little bit, unless they were waiting for the top of the range to get short again. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's expanded range day after all that compression. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody that was being a contrarian, I think that's what you've seen in this market is, more short-sightedness. What if you'd been getting pounded in Apple all day, all week? You get a $5 move there. Right. Those buying balances were paired off very quickly. So Apple gets the pop and, people, maybe people, this is, maybe this is a bear market rally just off one set of good numbers. But I don't know. It has a little bit more teeth to it. 28.75 is your current high, backing off just a little bit into the close here. Looks like a little bit of profit taking.
Everybody's favorite stock, or you can tell me it's not. Tesla, Tesla,
Tesla.
Tesla, Tesla. Everyone loves to talk about Elon, Elon, Elon. And it looks like Tesla. This is what I call a shake right here. If you guys want to know what's called a shake, this to me seems like a shake, right? A lot of people I thought were just holding off of that 108. They're like, "Yep, we're going to use that as risk. We're good. We're going to swing trade this back up. This is going back to 200." Well, boom, this morning, if you came in, you were like, "Oh man, we're down to 105." Like, just to start it off. Then right towards the open, it was getting even worse. It kind of did this little kind of red to green move, and it went down towards that 101.81. I don't know how you hold on if you were thinking 108 was your risk, and then now you're like, oh well, I'll just hold on till the open. I think a lot of people might have gotten washed out, and then whoosh, some traders started picking it back up.
Well, as you heard it here first, this had a date with triple digits or double digits, right?
Yeah.
But you had the 103 open. I wasn't paying close attention to this one. I think maybe the only thing that might have saved me if I was trading this from the short side is you opened to 103 and you went down first. But you look at this. I might have to make my colors a little bit different here to make it more of a differentiation. But you never took out the pre-market low.
Yeah,
And when you don't take out the pre-market low, go from buying from weakness on to strength, into strength. There wasn't much in there. Well, you did have a decent. Well, you would have had to been jumping up ahead of Wednesday's high. Wednesday's high came in at 14.59. You got the 14.39. That makes 14.50 a big number tomorrow. But good to see Tesla bouncing today, and also, even though it's fallen down in importance in the index, it still is an S&P top 15, I think, top 20 component. So when the indexers are buying, they have to buy Tesla too. So good move for it. Glad to see it get away from the $100 level.
Well, Michael, what can I tell you? Wake me up when Europe runs out of natural gas. Because it doesn't seem like they're running out of it just yet, Michael. Boyle, UNG, natural gas. It just doesn't seem like it really wants to wake up. I don't know. That's why I started staying away. I was wrong on this one, admitted it, and I've stayed away. Kind of happy I've been staying away.
I don't know.
I mean, it won't wake up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think at one point when I always think about this as like if I'm a producer here, right? And you have gas, natural gas, between what's that, $4, $6, and wow, you finally get over 8. You haven't been 8 over 2016. I think as a hedger, once it goes to that 8 to 10, you got to be trying to lock it in. Then you get the overproducing, like, oh man, no, so the guys that aren't hedging, the guys are, are now overproducing, and you get to an oversupply thing. But you had the false breakout under 10, tried to hold 5, now at 374. Tough chart here if you're trying to pick a bottom in natural gas. UNGs probably look the same way, but that's such because of the reverse splitting, that is an ugly chart. I talk about 3,900 trying to be support. I wasn't talking about it being support going into the close. We're currently 39.16. That's only 12 handles off the high.
Well, Deutsche Bank tried to pick on Bank of America and JP Morgan today, at least I would say, as they put them to hold from buy, citing weakening macro outlook. And you can see JP Morgan shook that off, said, I can keep going. I can keep going.
I tell you that this is another thing that I was like, like when you got, Dennis was pounding me into the bull camp. I'm looking at this stock and I'm like, this thing won't go down. It didn't have a great year, but if we're going into this deep recession, why would the stock not be pulling back, not looking like the other banks? But still, you're still not out of the woods here with this JP Morgan. The Not only the dailies are giving confirmation of major resistance here, the high of the move at 38.66. Did you get into 38 handle today? 138.38. Monthly highs here as well. So good move, but not breaking out yet.
Well, since the banks are somewhat coming, I think we should always try to pay attention to them as we get closer to their earnings. A lot of times that's when we see them move, right? Look at Goldman Sachs. Tell me about that range right there, Joel. What should we be watching? Where are the levels?
Goldman Sachs. Well, if you would have asked me yesterday, I'd say this 340 area is shaping up like the 3800 area. Um, I mean, it's not a super sexy pop today
Yeah.
though in this one. So I don't know. I kind of just feel like this is an underperformer for the week. Not taking out Tuesday's high is not a great sign to me. I think you make wow, Tuesday's high was that 350? No, that was 360. So, yeah, it's a good day, but if I was a Goldman Sachs trader, I'd be, man, why isn't this thing at like 360,
Right.
361, 362? So, um, and I mean, that's not that far off. I mean, yeah, yes, it is pretty far off its all time high, but overall, a little disappointed here in the move in Goldman Sachs. Let's look at the other big bank. Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley's making a new high for the week, so that's a little bit better of a sign. But Goldman, a little bit, I feel, a little bit of a lagger in today's market. I mean, if you look at it on a percentage basis, being a higher beta stock, I mean, it's up 1%, while the S&P cash is up over 2%. S&Ps are continuing to find sellers here going into that closing bell.
Let's do a little steal. I was watching that today. I actually got stopped out on that one today. I wasn't really trying to be brave today, but it was a nice move. And I've been starting to see that Steel's been waking up. Really, the one that's been kind of leading it is Cleveland Cliff, but I was looking to see if Steel could start getting moving today. And now it's looking interesting as we start getting closer and closer to these highs to the left. We'll see if we actually start pushing here.
This busted above 18. We talked about holding a 18 bid, right? Because that was filling the gap area. Oh, you missed the gap on the filling the gap on the downside by only 3 pennies. So that was good enough. They bought it up. 18.80 is your high. You're trading 16 cents off that. We talked about things being thin between 18 and 19, right? This big red bar here. Well, it was thin going back on the way up, and I talked about the 1885 high. You didn't quite get there. I did talk about the 1873 close on that day, which was a close back on September 9th, and boy, you hadn't seen that close in a long time. FCX was asked about too this morning. That was
Mhm.
showing strength, and boom, just out of the gate, boom, Freeport McMoran busting out
Two,
here. That's a good
uh,
looking chart.
I gotta say, everyone's looking at that FCX, and I normally do, but lately I've been watching this one. I've just been watching it since 50. SCCO, Southern Copper Corp.
Yep.
This one, I like the chart. It keeps
Oh, these
running.
guys. EKS was talking about this one, and it
Ah,
definitely had the breakout, the gap and go. So, but that's it, Mitch. Unless we're getting paid overtime, we're gonna
stop
wrap.
the clock. EKS
Yeah.
knows it, right? It's time to wrap it up. It's time to have a weekend. I don't know about you, Joel, but sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to get to the weekends. I enjoy, the market. I enjoy the life. This week will definitely be one that I'm like, yeah, let's get to the weekend. Let's get to Monday. Let's get, some rebalancing, the mindset going again. It was a tough week, right? We started with the January effect. And I mean, we're still in January. Is this more January effect? Who
Well,
knows?
you talked about that yesterday, and well, it's actually only the first two trading days of the month. So that was Tuesday and Wednesday. As Rob talked about, you had a little bit of seasonality, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the first Friday of the month. Yeah, the unemployment rate, yeah, it did go down to 3.5%, but you did have some other offsetting factors, right? With the wage deflation. We'll see what happens. I mean, easy as we anything we know in this market, easy come, easy go, right? And now it will be important to establish some support here. We broke out of the top of the range theoretically, and are going to close above 3,900, but it takes more than one day, right, to prove this market. So thanks for joining me. I will be 100% on Monday, I guarantee, shaking off this little bug here, and I'll be back ready to go, back ready to battle Triple D and Money Mitch. Mitch, another great job yesterday. We put you in the crosshairs yesterday, and you did a
I'll tell you
fantastic
one thing. I
job.
didn't double up today. Sometimes it's smart not to double up on your bet. Would have definitely got my lunch taken. I'll see you guys on Monday. Keep working at your trading team. Like always, reach out to us if you have any questions.